How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Something very interesting happened in 2016 for me because I track my finances every single month in a spreadsheet and I check out what's coming in and what's coming out, what I am saving. And I found out in 2016 I actually saved 100% of my income. You might go, whoa, saving 100% of your income is kind of like spending $0. I mean, am I living in a hole or something? I'm not. I have a normal life. I buy stuff, I eat food. And so I'm actually spending money on a very low level, actually. And most of my income, 100% of the income from my day job, is actually going into my savings. Now, a lot of this has to do with cash flow. You have to increase multiple sources of income coming in and also really restrict your outflow, your expenditure on everything basically. And this kind of applies to everybody. So I'm gonna go over a little bit of what exactly I do to bring in more sources of income and also what I do to restrict the expenditure in a comfortable way, of course. And you can kind of apply this for your own finances and hopefully you can start to narrow it down and start saving more and more. The thing is, it wasn't always like this for me because I actually had to work really hard to kind of polish my finances, okay? I'm like polishing this object where, oh yeah, you can kind of increase your income a little bit here via investment. You can reduce it a little bit there, with like reducing services that you don't really need or use. And I'll go over each one of those in particular. I'll share with you some of those things in this video. Here's my favorite cash flow diagram. You can see here all my job income is actually going into the bank right here. After tax, it's going in there and none of it is flowing out because I've got all these other sources of income that's paying for these low level of bills and housing that I'm expending. You gotta know it's not as impressive as it sounds because I'm actually spending really little. Now, if you're like a pretty big spender and you're still doing this, then that would be very impressive. You can see here the first inflow of cash is through credit card points. I'm actually using the points in such a way where when I get the points, I'm not just throwing it away and go, oh, I'm gonna use this for, paying the annual fee, or I'm just gonna blow it all off on traveling somewhere. Well, I actually take this and I spend it as I normally would rather than just blowing off on stuff. So I use it for living expenses. And I get like 200 here, 100 there, maybe some big ones like 500. Add up for like a year, you might get like about $2,000 worth of cashback bonuses without having to strain yourself in spending more. Another really huge part of the cash inflow is I got kind of lucky this year. After reading that investment book, I just got kind of lucky and I made a bunch of money on investments which help pay for my living expenses. And so I can see that, yes, you can say, oh, I use some of my job income to pay for living expenses and investment doesn't really count. Investments actually being saved. Well, you can think of it either way. But investments did help and I have a whole bunch of videos on how to invest, value investing. One of my last videos, I recommended this Intelligent Investor book. This is the book that I read at the beginning of the year that caused my investments to take a turn to do a lot better. So I don't know if I can fully attribute it to this, or maybe I got lucky or whatnot, but this helped. And you can actually get this book through Audible for free, and I'll have a link down below in the video description, which when you click that, it would also help my YouTube income. I do make some money through YouTube, but if you kind of look at the fraction of how much it is compared to the other stuff, it's actually a small portion. I'm not that big a YouTuber, but I do hope that it would, continue to grow and other people would watch this video and help themselves on increasing their multiple sources of income and, reducing their amount of expenditures, which I'm pretty big on too, which I'll go over a little bit later. Doing that will increase your cash flow. Essentially, if you increase your multiple sources of income enough to cover your bills, then you can save 100% of your income. I would have to say that I probably got lucky this year. Maybe next year this will not be the case. But in 2016, it is true that I did save all 100% of my job income, which is pretty crazy to me. I never thought that could even happen and so soon. Anyway, on top of all this, you can see that there's Amazon and eBay on here. I'm not actually a reseller because I think doing reselling is kind of mundane and tedious, and you're not adding any value because you're just bringing in products and then you're shuffling them out. What I mean by these Amazon and eBay stuff is I'm just selling my junk. Sometimes when I buy stuff and I find out I don't really like it and maybe it's after the return period, I would just sell it through Amazon or eBay. On top of that, I kind of strive to be a minimalist, so then I try to sell a lot of stuff. And if you are good at this, you can sell a whole bunch of your stuff, and you can kind of see around here. It's a little bare, I guess, because I don't have that much stuff around, but this is what I like. I like things to be clean looking, you know, kind of streamlined and not a lot of clutter around. So when you do this, you can sell a lot of those things, and if you have some value in those things, and I mean, this stuff can add up to like, you know, thousands in a year pretty easily. So those things also help contribute to the cash inflow that help pay for my bills, food and housing. And over here you can see my rough expenditure for the year, and you can see I spend roughly about $40,000 a year. I live in the Bay Area, so housing is really expensive, and I mean, you just gotta deal with it. So you see I got every single month, you know, everything included is about $2,200. Over 1 year period, that's $26,000. So you can see that's a majority of my expenditure. If you subtract 26K from 40K, you can see that that's only 14K. That's how much I spend a year outside of housing. I don't know if that's a lot to some people, but for people in the Bay Area, the people that are working in professional jobs, that probably is really, really darn low. So let me cover what expenditures I have and how I'm able to cut those in order to, you know, get it that low. You gotta understand that because it's so low is the only reason I was able to cover all these expenses with these little tiny little sources of income everywhere. The bill per month for water is $28, that's pretty typical. And trash, I made a video about reducing your trash expenditure by reducing the service level, okay? It used to be $30, I reduced it to $17. Before I did that, I totally didn't think you can even do that. So this requires some skills, which is covered in that video. Gas electric is really just being efficient in using your electricity. You use a bunch of LED light bulbs, CFL light bulbs, insulation, etc. I don't have a school loan, I paid that off. Car payments, I don't have a car payment, I paid that off. I drive a Porsche Boxster, by the way, and it's a really old one. 2001, costed me about $20,000, and I think within the first 6 months I paid that off. With my own money, nobody gave it to me. I actually made that money and I paid it off with my job. Cell phone, I don't get a typical AT&T or Verizon cell phone. I use a Freedom Pop one, which I also have a video on this. It seems like I make a video about every one of these little tricks that you can do. It's actually free, but I put $15 here because the service kind of like tries to jack you into paying money. So then I kind of factor that in a little bit and say, okay, yeah, it's gonna be about $15 a month. It's a free cell phone, but it still works on the 4G LTE network. I get 1 gigabyte of data. I can make calls and receive calls. So you might think, oh my gosh, that's kind of like a weird thing. How do you get a cell phone for free? Check out that video and you'll know why. Landline, I don't have a landline. Cable, I don't have cable. I don't watch TV too often. I just watch over-the-air HD TV, and which is free. If I want movies or whatnot, I rent a Redbox or whatnot, and I bring it back home, which is really old school, you know, because people get like Netflix or something. That's me, and that's how I reduce the monthly expenditure. Car insurance, I did one way instead of 2 ways recently because I figure if something breaks, if I get into an accident or whatnot, I can probably cover the cost of repair with my own cash. Normally it would be $100, but then I reduced it to $37. I factor in about $100 of car maintenance because it is an expensive car, and there would be, you know, things I need to fix that have expensive parts. So it's been roughly about $100 per month, you know, but it, you know, I don't pay it every single month, but that includes the tires, which are really expensive. gas about $150, food expenses. I actually go pretty low on food expenses even though I'm eating some level of meat, lamb. It's good food. I'm not eating bread or anything. You see, I buy my own meat and I cut it. I can make my own shabu shabu and it's delicious. So cooking yourself actually saves a lot of money, of course. And I still go out to restaurants, I don't know, 2-3 times per week or so. So I factor in about $200. It probably sounds a bit low. Probably 2 times a week, I think. I used to buy a lot of clothing. I might go to the mall and just pick up clothes, so then I have a huge stash of clothing in my closet that I'm just working through, and I don't have to buy anything, and I still have clothes to wear. I gotta factor in money for gadgets every month because I buy various things to try. You see, I use the GoPro gimbal. I buy a GoPro for this YouTube channel, and basically other gadgets and such, and then I have others, which I just kind of funnel in all the other things that I didn't take into account. You add all that up, it's about $14,000, and I'm sure this sounds pretty crazy low. And you gotta know that this is not a hindrance for me. Everything is pretty comfortable, and I'm still able to spend that low. And so if you look at a typical person, I try to estimate what a typical person would actually use in my same situation with all these different bills on the second column here. Water would be the same, trash, well, they wouldn't reduce it, so it would still be $30 a month. Gas and electric, maybe they're not watching it as much, so maybe it'll be $100, which is pretty typical per month for that. They might have a student loan because they've been spending, at a medium level, like normal people. And so they haven't had the money to pay off the student loan maybe, so it'll be, I estimate about $250, maybe to even $400 a month for the student loan. And you might have a car payment of roughly $300, let's just say. Cell phone payments are typically $90 a month, okay? Instead I pay the $15. Landline, maybe there's a landline still. Maybe you still have a landline, like you have that hanging around still, which is consuming your resources of $30 a month. You might have cable. Maybe you really need to watch sports. $100 a month there. I don't watch sports, so I don't have a need for that. Car insurance, maybe you still have two-way, $100 a month. Car maintenance, same thing, maybe even more, because if you don't repair your own car, like I do, then it might be more, $200, $300 or whatnot, because when I take my car out, they charge you a lot. And for gas, if you're not getting the 5% cash back, you are paying a little bit more on the gas. Food expenses, maybe you're not as efficient with the food in terms of not wasting food, because if you just don't waste any food, you save a lot of money. You plan your meal accordingly so that you're actually eating everything in the fridge. Just doing that in itself will save you a lot of money. And then maybe they go out to fancy restaurants and a lot more than I do. I've actually found that me going to a whole bunch of restaurants, there's a lot of MSG. About 1 out of 4 times that I go to a restaurant, I might not feel well. One reason or another, too much salt, not clean. That just kind of keeps me not really wanting to go to restaurants. There are good restaurants. There are ones that I frequent often, and I would be a frequent goer of the same restaurant over and over again because I know I like the food there. It doesn't make me feel ill, and so I would be a repeat customer. And clothing, go shopping clothing once in a while, $200. Gadgets, maybe you spend a little bit more on that, and let's just say the others is the same. You come down to a total of $34,000, and then you add in housing. So for a typical person in my same situation, instead of spending $40K a year, you spend $60K a year. Now you can imagine that increasing your income, your side income, in order to cover that will be that much harder. So reducing your expenditure is one of the really main factors that got me to be able to save 100% of my income. I hope me breaking it down into specific details on line by line for my expenditure helps a lot of you look at your expenditure in a different way. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, and remember, you can go down in the video description below to check out the Audible link to get that Intelligent Investor book which helped me increase my investment income. Comment down below, let me know how many % of your income you're actually saving, and don't forget to subscribe over here. Thanks for watching.